another episode of Pretty Suited Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren A., and this is where we discuss career, culture, and the commitment to being our best selves. I'm super excited to be here today. I really hope you guys enjoyed the last episode, episode 16, with my great friend, Nia Griffin. That was my first interview, so I think they went pretty well. Honestly, I think that, we were able to have some really good conversation about being a mom, having a good career, balancing that, trying to figure out how to not have imposter syndrome as you elevate in your promotion in your career. So if you haven't already, make sure you check that out. It is episode 16 titled The Balancing Act with myself and my friend Nia Griffin, who happens to be a nurse practitioner. I look forward to more interviews in the future. I do have some lined up and I'm scheduling some for the near future. So we're going to slowly roll those out over time, but I'm really interested in just getting to know some women and, hearing their stories. If you have any questions or anything that you guys would like to talk about or like to see me talk about with my guest or, during a solo episode, feel free to leave a comment below because the sky's the limit, honestly, and I think we have a lot to talk about. So just recapping this week, I've been really chilling, honestly. September has been a good month. It's been a month of reflection, honestly. It's been a month of patience, I would say. I don't know if it was the movie Evan Almighty or Bruce Almighty, but there was a powerful scene where Morgan Freeman, and we all know that he definitely has that distinct voice where he plays God in that movie. And in that movie, he basically says, like, when you ask God for strength, I'm not going to give you strength. He'll give you the opportunities to be strong. If you ask God for patience, I'm not going to just sprinkle patience on you. I'm going to give you opportunities to be patient. And I think that that was evident for the month of September, honestly, because I feel like September was a month of patience for me. So I know that previously I spoke to you guys, way earlier this year about possibly transitioning roles and careers and things like that. So I am in the process of doing that. And I don't like to, tell everything, but I have recently accepted another position. But in that process, when you have interviewing, you always, are like, oh, how long is this going to take? Am I going to get it? Am I going to, is there another interview? Did I do well on this interview? And so it can just be a waiting game. And depending on the actual job and how many interviews they want you to go on, because that's a whole nother conversation when they want you to be on, have 37 different interviews just for the job. And you're like, I don't think we need that many interviews, but I digress. Okay. So you're just playing a waiting game. So, this week's episode, I really just want to talk about, waiting your turn. What does that look like? How does that make you feel? Everything is not a rush process. Everything is not, go, 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 as the world tells you that it is sometimes you do have to wait your turn. Let's say if you're looking for a job and you're in the process of looking for this new job, but you're still at your current job. And so in your mind, you're like, I'm already checked out, right? I don't really care. And you end up almost quiet quitting, right? The process of you're not really there. You're just doing the bare minimum, but that can be dangerous, right? Because you never really want to leave on a bad note. You don't want to burn bridges. So, until you are able to kind of like get to the next step, you still want to be able to be productive. You still want to be able to, put out good product and until you're able to move to the next step. Because what people will remember is how you left them, right? I don't care what it is. It could be a conversation. It could be a job. It could be whatever. The lasting impression is just as important as the first impression. And people take that for granted, I feel. We're always so focused on the first impression, but what about the last impression, right? So like for me, I think that when you're in the process of waiting your turn, you still want to be a good steward over your work. You still want to be a good steward over what you have in front of you until you're able to progress and move forward. That's just what I think. And that in this this process has taught me that. I want to be able to have references when I leave. I want to be able to circle back, if I wanted to. Let's say if something doesn't work out, you want to be able to kind of circle back and be able to have good relationships, right? Because a lot of times too, what they don't tell you about this whole quiet quitting and leaving with a bang, what they don't tell you about that is that, let's say if the new job calls the old job and ask if they will rehire you, what will they say? Probably not, right? Same thing goes with, what if they come to your job as a boss or a leader? So the bridge that you burned at your previous employer with that person, it can follow you into where you are now, and that can hinder you, right? So you don't want to be in a position where you're ever really burning bridges, regardless of if you can't stand their guts, regardless if, you're like, I don't need this and I'm moving on, I'm better than this, whatever that is. You don't want to not have ties and connections and a good rapport with people as you leave them. And so that's something that I've learned as well. And it has helped me, honestly, to be able to move forward. It was the good relationships that I had in my previous employer. So kudos on my back for that, because I think that that is important. So speaking of waiting your turn, I want to tell a quick story about, I remember one time I was working for an organization, and I was there for about a year, actually. And during that time, I was also in grad school. So, when you're in grad school or we were in any kind of school, you're just ready to be done. You're doing all your work. You have so much knowledge in your brain. And so you kind of can get a big head almost. So, me being, young, but still eager to just display all the information that I'm learning in school, I said to myself, it's been a year at my new job at the time, it was a year. And I said, you know what? I deserve to be in leadership. So I took that arrogance with me in my annual review. And they were asking me, they was like, oh, that's great. Well, unfortunately, we don't really have any leadership positions, but maybe we can create something for you, over time to kind of see if that's something that you would like. And I was mad. I was like, I have this new degree. I should not be making the same amount of money that I was making before. And I deserve a raise. But if you really think about it, I really wasn't ready. At the time, yes, I have done that job for a year. Yes, I learned a lot of new things, right? But was I ready to take on a leadership role to be able to actually implement the things that I was learning and have it work? I think that the actual experience of executing plans would have helped me to have a stronger case to actually be a leader at that time. I'm not saying that you have to wait 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years before you ask for a promotion. Nobody's saying that. But I think that you can prematurely ask for elevation and promotion and leadership, especially if you have not gone through the proper things and had the proper experiences in order for it to make sense. You see what I'm saying? At that time, I just think that with just a little bit more time in the role and executing more ideas that I had, I'm really flushing them out, like planning it out and not just thinking based off of theory that it will work, but actual application, I think that I would have had a better case and they probably would have given me what I wanted. I just was just a little too arrogant at the time. So I get it now. I get it now. And I didn't before, but I get it now. And honestly, I think the same can be said when you're in a relationship. I like to try to tie it into our relationships as well. I feel like when people say, oh, you need to wait your turn, or your Boaz is coming, or your Ruth is coming, or, the love of your life is on their way. Who wants to hear that sometimes? There was periods in my singleness where I felt like I didn't want to wait any longer. I wanted to, find the love of my life. I wanted him to find me. And I wanted to, start that journey of being with someone on that level. And so during that waiting process, you can feel very discouraged. You can feel like, is it not meant for you? Will it ever happen? But something someone told me one time was either you attract who you are or you attract what you need. right? And I think a lot of times too, when people are just never comfortable with being by themselves, or never comfortable with being alone, or just trying to rush things into something that is not or hasn't, quite achieved yet, then you want to force a square peg into a round hole. Like, you cannot do that. And so the waiting process can be a time of reflection. It can be a time of you actually bettering yourself, healing from past experiences that you don't want to necessarily take into a new experience. So I would advise that during a process, especially in between relationships, is really get better. Honestly, whether you're just becoming a better person, you're developing better lifestyles, you are in better habits, or you are, getting education, putting your head down and focusing on your career, whatever you can do in the interim process where your sole focus is not going towards finding a partner, or just making yourself readily available for every person that comes your way, but really working on yourself and focusing on yourself, then you are more likely to attract exactly what it is that you want and need. Because honestly, if you don't do that, if you don't do that self work, if you don't do that healing, of trauma, then you may end up meeting someone and actually have trauma bonding instead of real connection. And then it'll turn into a whole nother fiasco, versus you are attracting and actually pulling towards you a person with the similar energy, similar frequencies. It's not a secret that low vibration gets along with low vibration. But if you're in higher vibration, if you're in higher energy, higher spirits, in a better place, then anything that's not that, anything that's lower than that or less than that, you're not going to want any part of, because you've already done the work. But if you haven't done the work, you're just more likely to just meet people who, are just bad for you, or just not meant to be in your life, just because you're trying to fill a void of what you think is supposed to be there when you could do a lot of it yourself. That's my thing. So honestly, when it comes to, relationships and meeting the person that, you want to spend the rest of your life with, it's important for you to wait your turn. But in that process, in that time period, to do the work on yourself. So that way, when that does happen, you'll be in a better position. Waiting your turn can be very taxing, it can be very frustrating, but it can also be a great thing. And we saw that in the past week with Coco Gauff. Everybody has seen this story of Coco Gauff. She is a 19-year-old tennis player who just won the US Open, her first Grand Slam tournament, and I'm so proud of her. Like, she has been the youngest US woman to win this tournament since Serena Williams in 1999. Like, that is insane to me, because I mean, we see the US Open happens every year, and you see all these people, win, and for her to dominate at 19 years old, and see her. They even had a clip of her when she was a young girl kind of dancing at the US Open, like when she was little, in the stands. And then now you see her win. It's just been great to see, honestly. And her parents were so proud of her. And when you look at stuff like that, yeah, it's a triumphant moment, but you really can appreciate the hard work that somebody really put into their craft. Like, if you think about it, she has probably dedicated time, friends, experiences. I doubt she actually went to a, school in person. I doubt she actually even did that. So you're sacrificing all these things to be really great. honestly. I'm rooting for her continued career. She seems to have her head on straight, honestly. And you know, I look forward to seeing how she does in the rest of the tournament. But she's a perfect example this week of waiting your turn. Perfect example of putting in the work to actually be a winner, instead of her just saying, "Oh, I played tennis, you know, I played tennis on my high school team and I got pretty good, so I deserve to win." No, it don't work that way. It does not work that way. You have to actually put in the time and produce results. You know what I'm saying? In order for you to move on to the next step. Because if not, you're just gonna be sitting there twiddling your thumbs, calling yourself the champ, and you're not the champ. Okay? So now we're going to get into our watch list of the week. So this week's watch list of the week is about not waiting your turn. This week's watch list of the week, I binge watched Love Is Blind on Netflix. And these people just did not wait their turn. I guess at some point they're just sick and tired of being single, and they decided to go into these pods in this mansion for a week and just speed date their way into the altar. And it's an entertaining show. You know, this is the same people who Nick Lachey and his wife, who came up with all these dating shows on Netflix, and they have similar storylines of pretty much people wanting to find love. Now, I'm a skeptic because I don't think that you can fall in love with somebody in a week and, you know, now you want to be married and join each other in holy matrimony after one week. I just think that that's too soon. So I think a lot of this stuff is, of course, scripted, and there's motives involved and things like that. But let's just say, for the sake of the story, I'm going to give some spoilers, because if you hadn't watched it, I'm sorry, the show been out since earlier this year. You should have caught it at this point. Hopefully you're not sensitive to that. But on this show, the only couple that I think, honestly, that was any good or had any hopes of actually being successful was Tiffany and Brett. This black couple was just beautiful, honestly. I feel like they were emotionally mature. They expressed themselves well. They were attentive to each other's needs, and they were just grown, honestly. And I think that's a testament too, because they actually were grown. Both of them were 35 and 36, so they just had different thinking, because the other couples, they were a lot younger. They were like in their late 20s, early 20s. So Love Is Blind, they're like meeting each other in the pods, speed dating all these people, getting engaged after a week, and then they're going on honeymoon, then they move into the house. All this is happening in like a span of a month. So like, I just thought to myself, would I do something like that if I were single? I don't know. I don't know if I would. I just think that the opportunities that come after being on shows like this, and it doesn't matter what show it is, any kind of love show or something like that, the fans have their favorites, and then you end up getting opportunities afterwards. Like you get book deals, hostings, you speaking engagements, endorsements, affiliate marketing, like all kinds of opportunities come. So while professionally and financially it would be a good idea, I don't think personally I would want to be on a show like that. I just don't like people in my business. Like, I just don't like. And then too, if you have like a good man on the show, I think that it'll just open doors for like other people to get into your relationship, because girls gonna be like, "Oh, he treated her like this. Oh, well, let me slide in his DM and see if he can treat me like that." You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that I would want my guy to just be on display like that. And people know his likes and dislikes. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. So, yeah, that's a no for me, but it's okay. I think that those women, you know, and those men, they did what they felt they needed to do. And some of them were able to find love, and some of them weren't. So, but check it out. It is called Love Is Blind on Netflix. So now we're going to get into our tune of the week. This week's tune of the week is a song that I cannot get away from. Like, I have been listening to this song and hearing this song all over social media, and it is Tyler Water. When I tell you this song is it's a late summer song. This should have been something that popped off in the beginning of the summer, because this would have motivated me to be on somebody's beach in the tropicals, in the Caribbean somewhere. And I'm telling you, it's not exactly Afro beats, because Afro beats mainly come from like West Africa. It's like more of the influence. But this particular artist, I read that she's actually from South Africa. And so she gives you, it's kind of giving like a Doja Cat vibe, but more of a bounce into it. It's more like a Caribbean Doja Cat. That's like the perfect description. She's like a Caribbean Doja Cat. So it's like, you get the vibe. I'm shimmying my shoulders. You get the vibe, right? But you also she has like a nice little angelic voice too. So check her out. It's called Water by Tyler. It is a great tune if you just want to jig, chill. I know it's going up if in brunch spots. I've been to a couple of brunches where rooftop brunches or whatever, and I've heard this song on several occasions. And it's the perfect song for that, honestly. So check that out. So this was a short but sweet episode. I didn't want to take too much of your time. It's been a very chill week, but I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Please like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to leave comments with ideas and topics that you would like for me to cover here on Pretty Suited. So thanks for tuning in, and follow me on Instagram. I am at the Lauren A. So don't forget to check out the website too at www.prettysuited.com, where you can read about some blogs that I have created over the past couple years, with topics ranging from wellness to fashion to music and just workplace tips and tricks and stuff like that. So check that out too. And as always, you cannot manifest the life you don't feel you deserve. So create the life that you want and look to the sky for grace. Have a great one. See you next time. Bye.